Towers of Doom here. So
First one we've cast in the playoffs, gonna be good. I don't know about you. My favorite map to cast outside of maybe Braxis, because Braxis you always see wild stuff. Towers can always have counter opportunities.
that is a lot of fun, you know, the fact that it can be anyone's game at any point because you cannot attack the core unless you capture the altars. So here we go, BTG with the luxuries of first pick, first ban. Game up is the one. Moving into this game number 2, what is going to be banned? This is Medivh's map.
Yes, it is, but it was still sticking with Genji, still targeting down the one, removing those power play options they have.
Okay.
The one. What is the counter here? Like you said, Medivh is pretty important, but we don't see, if I remember correctly, we don't see either of these teams picking Medivh that much. I will double check that for you.
Yep.
So we have 8 Medivh bans by the one and 0 Medivh plays. And BTG, 1 Medivh, 3 Medivh plays and 3 Medivh bans. So BTG can play Medivh.
Excellent. Okay, so Garrosh ends up being banned instead. So Medivh is up. Stukov, yeah, we've actually just seen Stukov coming in during the early portions of this draft very commonly so far. So I like the fact that BTG just run with it. Malthael very early, as well as the Malfurion. So Malthael does so very well on this map. If it's the Pale Horse build, rotating between mid and top, doing that double clear, that double soak. It is a very early Malthael, but I like it. I love this hero.
Very cool. The double mouth as well. Healing over time is pretty good with Malthael because he can dance in and out pretty well with his ease. See if he can use it to well enough effect, and whether he decides to go for even a Tormented Souls, where that build can actually get even more value, or just stick with Last Rites, dance in, Last Rites, dance out. But next couple picks here, like you said, Medivh still available, Stitch is still available. Both of these teams have been known to sneak in stuff like that. Illidan still open, which the one, like we said before, they have that sneaky draft, but right now they haven't really led into it at all. I mean, Garrosh could be a decent way to deal with Illidan.
I smell a Hanzo here. Yeah, so much control with the Sonic Arrow. I would love to see Hanzo come through at this point, but it's the Junkrat and Varian, again, quite early. Varian usually chosen to match one of those hyper carries like a Genji, like a Tracer, but just picked out of comfort, I suppose, here. We'll have to see how the synergy works out, you know, what BTG decide to run with the Varian, you know, to kind of combo off of that early taunt now at level 4 instead of level 10. We will find out very shortly. Now the one, they get their bans, they see this Junkrat, they see that Varian, likely they're going to just combo something that can, ban something that can combo very well with the taunt.
Yeah, but what would that be here? The majority of their main bans have kind of been removed already. Like, if I had to guess, it would be something like a Grey main, but then you've sort of removed both of Meng's top 2 options. He did pretty well in the Tychus earlier, but still be kind of strange. So, what else could combo?
Or you could just get rid of Medivh.
Medivh, yeah, they could, if they're just not comfortable and are scared of that being the wildcard pick, as it were. It's going to be Sonya.
Okay.
That's fair. They already have the solo later. Might as well. And the second best one.
Ooh, I actually like that. So, are we just going to see a Leoric again? Ooh, wait, this is actually getting really cheeky. We can talk about this in a second. But now, BTG with their ban, they see the Malthael, they see the Malfurion, looking at a Tracer ban, which is actually quite curious because BTG already have the Varian, which works very well into Tracer. So the ban on it is an interesting one for sure. Now just flirting with the idea of some other heroes, you know, just running through. Yeah, Maiev now being hovered.
One in there that seemed unlikely. Samuro. I mean, Samuro wouldn't be the worst, to be honest. But I don't know if the one have played him at all.
That would be weird for me because Samuro and Malthael operate under the same capacity, right? They're both that solo laner. They're both the ones that sit on the side. So it didn't make too much sense, the hover, but the Hanzo, in fact, does, because the one do need a ranged, and Hanzo, as we just discussed, you know, the control with that Sonic Arrow is unlike any other hero.
Like you said, with the Hanzo removed, one of the heroes who we haven't mentioned at all, but is still popular on this map, Abathur, could be viable for either of these teams.
Ooh.
This is certainly an Abathur map.
I would love to see it. Abathur Malthael, super terrifying. But what I wanted to talk about was the fact that the one have Malthael, they've banned the Sonya, and what we've seen so far in China that are common offlane picks is, you know, the Sonya, it's the Malthael, it's the Leoric, and not having, or being forced on a Leoric would be absolutely detrimental for BTG because the Leoric Malthael matchup is so bad for Leoric. But the one, they decided to go with the Tychus and Arthas.
I love what they're doing. The one, they know that BTG have played against them all season. They know BTG know their strategies. This is a perfect bait into, oh, we're totally going to go an Illidan draft here. So BTG now have the choice. They can either build into countering the Illidan with whatever they have left, or they can build into countering the Abathur, which is still viable, or even building into countering a Thrall, which could still be the last pick option here, or another ranged character. The one have left themselves flexible for their last pick, while still putting the fear of those kinds of strategies into BTG, which can detrimentally affect the final two picks of their draft.
Wait a second. Okay. Hold on. I'll have to ask you more about that in just one moment. Once we see these next two picks of BTG, because that's very interesting to me. What's it going to be then? They need to be able to kill this Arthas. Are they actually just threatening, saying, like, I dare you to run a Leoric? Is that what they're saying? And they are. So it's the Leoric and the Tracer picked up for BTG. So, okay, this last pick, you say it is a Abathur or a Illidan or perhaps a Thrall. Those are your thoughts here?
Those are the ones I would go to, or another ranged. Another ranged, like a Grey Mane for Meng, would also be pretty acceptable here.
Okay, so that's kind of what I would see too, just another ranged. And Abathur would honestly work so well with the one's composition. I would absolutely love to see that. You know, you've got the Leoric, which is picked here to kind of match up against the Arthas. Heavy health pool of the Arthas, you want that % damage in the Drain Hope to see if you can take down this frontline hero. But BTG have willingly picked one of the worst solo lane matchups for themselves. Leoric into Malthael is so terrible for Leoric, but at the same time, they have a Tracer, so Tracer can rotate into that losing solo lane and threaten the Malthael. So there's so many like synergies and counter synergies that are going on here, and picks and counter picks. Like, this is a fiery draft for both of these teams.
The one burning down their time pool to completion, and it's going to be the Falstad. So sticking with that range, but they still were able to force some unexpected picks here. The Falstad is going to give them a little more map control, while still they were threatening the Illidan. Unfortunately, this does mean that Arthas might start to have problems.
Yeah. Oh, this is a really... It's an interesting dynamic, because like I said, Leoric loses to Malthael, so you'll have the red side pushing into the blue side often, but then blue side has a rotator in the Tracer who can come top and attack onto red side's aggressive solo laner. But then at the same time, red side has a flight that can come top. So both of these teams have matchups for the way that their comps are strong and weak. So it's basically all going to come down to execution. Both of these teams have comps that can actually play well against each other. So 100% going to go down to execution.
It's going to be interesting. I don't see much setup for a hinterland, so we're not going to see anything fancy like that. Probably going to see more of along the kinds of just standard gust play for disengage if they need to. But overall, in terms of bot lane control, which can be the really winning factor on this map, I've got to lean kind of in favor of the one, I feel.
Yep, for bot control, I would agree. Camp control, it's kind of going to be, you know, neutral. Both of these teams, they don't have the most insane amount of sapper control,
I guess.
The nice thing though, BTG do have the Stukov, so going to be able to silence those sappers when they come in to stop them from, you know, blowing up and kamikazing onto the wall. So that is definitely worth mentioning. But here we go, game number 2, ladies and gentlemen.
And spawning on the left-hand side, Beyond the Game, with 619 on Varian, LLK on Tracer, Druid on Stukov, Dancing on Junkrat, and Lai is playing the Leoric.
And on the right in red, we've got the one. It's Hugo on the Malthael, Lucky playing the Falstad, Meng on Tychus, ZJZ on Malfurion, and Hehe playing the Arthas.
An interesting draft for sure by both of these teams. Lions more starting off for the Variant, staying that little bit of poke opportunity instead of having to go all in for most of his regen. Falstad not going with any kind of cheeky plays here, no wingmans or anything like that. We are sticking with the seasoned marksman.
I'm actually really liking the Wingman and W build for Falstad more recently. It seems pretty strong, but both of these teams are stepping up as 5, contesting each other in this mid lane, and so much damage onto the Arthas. He steps up too far and ends up going down.
So here is an argument that me and Grubby keep making in the open division when we cast it together. When you are committing to the 5-man in mid lane, you are actively stating we think our composition has a better team fight at level 1. If both teams do that, one of them is wrong, which means one of these teams has made a mistake. You shouldn't 5-man mid lane if you have the worst composition. So that is a misread of drafting there.
Oh, here we go. Hugo getting aggressed on from the side. There is the boot from Junkrat.
Beautiful.
Perfectly timed. BTG aggressing so well in this early game. 2 kills already over onto them so far.
What a fantastic move here as we see Meng wanted to start his camp, but here is the entirety of BTG. So he's realized that is a potentially unwise decision. Scouts the bush though, but 619 still hanging around this area. The aggressive potential play here coming in.
The Howling Blast, he just trying to zone so that the members of the One can pick up their Sapper camp. But to quickly discuss that mid lane matchup you're talking about, just comparing team fights of both teams, sometimes it doesn't even have to boil down to team fight, and it can boil down to just wave clear. So if one team has more wave clear than the other team and they just avoid the fight and focus on the wave, that's the team that now commands the rotation, because they can mount up faster, they can go to the next lane and start controlling vision, controlling the waves. So even if you don't have the team fight, if you're able to focus on the wave, sometimes you can come up even if your team fight is weaker. But there we saw the weaker team fight just stepping up too far, looking for the fight and losing.
Down goes the Sapper camp of BTG, whereas the Ones is still pushing in. Is Malfurion going to jump a heal onto one of them? Not by the looks of it. And as such, Junkrat will clean these up eventually. Druid with the silence. Sappers actually both make it in. Tower goes down. 619 gets dropped low and killed off here. Nice move in. I'm amazed those Sappers survived long enough to get there.
Yeah, that's pretty surprising indeed. Silence coming out just to try to stop the advance of the One, but already this entire bottom wall going in favor of the One. Tracer was represented mid this entire time, so members of the One felt safe just walking up here knowing that Tracer hadn't rotated yet. Hugo and Lucky doing very well at just, forcing this double clear. So the wave priority, wave clear for the One definitely working more in their favor so far.
So, I don't think I've ever seen this Tychus talent picked in pro play.
Oh
this
my
level
gosh.
4 Tychus talent. This is, this is the Master Assassin. Also, we're going to see a 2-for-1 trade just quickly for the One as they get able to control bot lane with the greatest of ease. So much so that Hugo does take a little bit of damage, but they can back out with relatively little harm done to them. But yeah, Master Assassin, hero takedowns permanently increase your attack speed by 1%, stacking up to 15 stacks. And if you can get up to 15 stacks, your attack speed is increased by another 10%, so you can get up to 25% extra attack speed.
That is a very interesting one for sure, kind of banking on getting those kills, getting those takedowns.
At least 15 kills.
Yeah, but hey, you're just looking to be that late game carry in the Tychus. These games can usually go quite long on this map because, as we discussed, the main objective does do damage onto the core of your opponent, and you can't close out the game by just winning a team fight. So maybe it's going to work in their favor. And is he banking on getting last rites from the Malthael to try to help stack that one up? Is that the synergy?
I think so. That's a really good idea. I hadn't thought of that. If they could drop it on Tracer as well, who's gone for Untouchable, they could ruin her stacks while gaining their own. Next level. Nice barrel roll by Lucky, keeping himself alive there, so he will survive for the moment. But yeah, Tracer going with the not so much standard. It's about as standard as the Bullet Spray style builds, the parting gift these days, I would say, at least in China, where you see that and sometimes going for the Ricochet, sometimes going for the self-sustain.
The One moving in, aggressing onto BTG's Sapper camp here. They have the flight, so they can force the numbers advantage in their favor, especially seeing as how, Leoric just kind of showed that he was top, picking up that Sapper camp for themselves, but Falstad going able to de-push this one, and this is 6 Sappers moving in bottom. The One, this is huge for them. Wait, was that Lurking Arm just used?
Silence.
Yeah.
Drew a counter to silence. You can see Tracer right now. Tracer and Varian to try to hold the line, stop them from moving in. They're just going to try to hold it. Clear the bugs. Too late. Most of them make it in, but a couple were stopped. So good clear by BTG, but still slight misplay. Hugo now zoning out Lai, and wow, Both are stolen.
Oh, not quite.
Stukov.
The silence.
Last second lurking on.
Very, very cheeky. And now the one likely won't step in to try to take this one, but, Lucky, taking a little bit of damage from the Leoric there, but able to barrel roll to safety now immediately onto this top wave. So the one, to me, it just looks like they rotate a little bit quicker than their opponents, faster to say, I want to invade. Here comes the taunt onto Hehe, but able to walk away through that silence, no further damage followed up for BTG, but it just seems like they're faster to the lanes, faster to the wave clear, and I'm liking the rotations from TheOne so far.
They're moving forward, looking for the kill on 619 as the Pulse Bomb does nothing to Tychus. And down goes 619. Good isolation by TheOne.
619 performed in a dominant fashion yesterday, and it seems like TheOne just have his number so far in this series. He's stepping up into places. We saw him last game just kind of getting ragdolled a little bit in some of the fights. So TheOne just are capitalizing on the aggressive positioning of this player a little bit better than previous games. But Hugo now is the one who's in trouble. LLK doing a lot of damage on the Tracer, but he able to zone out his team.
The slow is just too much value. Last rights, and that is 2 stacks for Meng already. This, like you said, the synergy, it is here. Last rights coming in as the heroic, along with the Army of the Dead, Tranquility, Commandeer Odin, which I assume would also have its attack speed boosted by Master Assassin, and the Mighty Gust.
Oh, this is next level here. Can you imagine a 25% permanent attack speed increased big red button Tychus?
The big red button would be cool. What's the other talent that does percentage damage on auto attacks that works in Odin at level 20? I can't remember what it's called.
Do not know. I'm pretty sure big red button is the only 20.
I found it. Sizzling attacks.
Oh yeah.
This could be the nextest of next level builds here if that's what they go for.
Yeah, that. We'll see what it ends up being here, yeah. But Meng just focusing on the wave, and now Varian stepping up a little bit, and again, just 619 just getting massively chunked out. Hehe walking in with that Frozen Tempest, slowing the retreat of BTG.
Tranquility's good. Armor on the Odin. Not enough to keep Meng alive this time. Shots have already been taken on bot. Not in mid yet, as Falstad is dueling Tracer. Hugo, mad mode in through it. Finally gets the kill on Druid through the last right. Tychus is dead. He does not get a stack for this, I believe. As here comes the March of the Black King. Good parting by TheOne as they turn around and they will finish off Lai. And Falstad looking for finishing off Tracer, but can't do it. And, well, shots were still taken.
Yeah, I saw him barrel rolling forward on that mini-map, getting aggressive on this Falstad, trying to trade with the Tracer, but no kills further, and immediately Falstad rotating top, picking up that soak top lane, pushing his team further and further in the advantage when it comes to XP. And now TheOne, they finally have control over both of these bottom side forts.
2 stacks on the last right, 5 on the Master Assassin, 1 for Untouchable on Tracer. They are looking good. TheOne, their stacks are working really well for them so far already.
Forcing their advantage here. They have the level 13s over their opponents, so immediately onto the boss camp, picking up another 4 shots onto their opponents, down to now only 16 shots is BTG. Lai is the target for TheOne, but that Wraith Walk going to be able to get Leoric to safety.
Another mercenary camp then, going to be taken. This bot lane was finally retaken by BTG, so that will heal back up to full. So it's top lane is the focus for TheOne. See if they can put some extra pressure on that way. However, heroics available in are probably back of cooldown, much of the Black King especially for BTG, so they will be able to fight the next objective on even talent as well if they can soak this bot lane, grabbing themselves that level 13.
So far, we haven't seen this Varian pick doing a whole lot. He has the power spike between 4 and 10, which is really where you want to start pushing his advantage, but we just haven't seen any of the real follow-up. We haven't seen the Taunt and Pulse Bomb combination go out onto anyone, and maybe that's just the way that TheOne has been navigating the map, but so far, BTG's draft just kind of has fallen a little bit short.
Leoric coming in. There's a taunt on Arthas again. Wrong target, I would say. Hugo doing huge damage to Druid. Druid is down. Riptide not enough to finish off Hugo as he just wades back through the members, teleports away, and Tracer is getting wrecked by Meng here. Finally, some damage coming out from Varian onto Lucky, but he barrel rolls back. There's another taunt, but 619 just gets himself killed with that taunt, and this is a massacre. TheOne pushing through. Dancing gets rooted for good measure, and he falls to the grenade.
Grenade was on point there, securing the last kill, and these stacks are stacking, Tetcher. We're going to see the incredible auto attack, and there we go. Druid just getting immediately blown up by Hugo. Perfect Wraith Strike right here onto the backside of Lai, just continuing this percent damage. The Black King March comes through, but it's not enough. And then 619, again, just caught on the backside of this fight, tries to taunt Lucky to, try to get a little bit more out of this team fight, but TheOne just on point here. Now 16's coming in very soon, so it's not like it's going to get much better for BTG in the near future. You're against a global and you're this far down. Only 12 more shots on the core of BTG.
And we already see Falstad has gone back up to top lane. XP is going to continue to be in their favor. 2-level lead. Sappers heading for the core. This is such a huge lead for TheOne as they begin moving in. Tracer, though, she's hit a pretty big power spike for herself with that Ricochet. Locked and loaded will also be super helpful here. But she's finally going to be able to join the fight from a little bit further away instead of having to try and wrap around.
Yep, this full auto attack build for Tracer. It's it's sometimes we see it, sometimes we see one of the more standard builds, but 619 just stepping in, and now BTG, they're feeling like they have to try to force this fight down a talent tier, but TheOne are perfectly fine just stepping up and defending this one. You can't really push into an Arthas like this, but they do it anyways. Malthael now coming back, TheOne flirting with the idea of just actually stepping up and defending this one. Here comes the Frozen Tempest.
So we're actually going to see Arthas try and zone away now that the minions are dead. Fully stacks is level 1, and the whole idea is to zone away now the minions are dead and let Malthael steal some mercenaries so that these will be pushing bot lane while this is fought over. Farsight's already going to grab the ult to his own side, Leoric grabs the one his side. So now it's going to be a big fight over bot lane while mercenaries push straight for core.
Yeah, so 1 cap going to either team, 5 and 3 respectively, because the fort control is for the side of TheOne.
Go in and if these sappers go in and TheOne capture this altar, that's game.
It could be.
They have lethal right now. The channel's happening. Falstad, can you interrupt it? Falstad interrupts it with the boomerang. Look at this concave that TheOne are trying to set up here. Big old wraparound to gain the best angle here. Falstad could get a huge gust here if he decides to move in as Arthas waits forward. There's the gust, puts Druid super out of position, gets the flaming swipe. Odin's online, doing the damage. As Hugo moves in for 619, they're going to try and kill off the tanks first, remove that taunt potential. Junkrat has been completely zoned by Lucky, but manages to come over the wall to give himself good positioning, but 619, the tank, already dead. This is familiar as we see a retreating and dying team of BTG Sappers getting baited by Junkrat. Last-ditch effort, if he can clear these Sappers, his team will live. They're trying to move forward. Clean the Sappers, Junkrat! Clean the Sappers! 1 left, it goes down! And 1 health on the core. BTG still alive.
That was so close. I've never seen a Sapper just bordering on that, like, brink of destruction so close. But yes, the boss going to be up very soon, and Lai actually stepping up too far could very well just go down here. But TheOne, they have a huge win condition here. Yes, 16's almost online for BTG, but they cap the Sapper camp. If members of BTG show on top side against this boss, then the Sappers walk in and they win the game. And if they go and contest, they could lose the game up there too. So TheOne trying to open up this win condition for themselves. As soon as Leoric shows on bottom lane, which he is, TheOne likely just going to force this boss, and here we go.
Arthur's on the way, Malthael's on the way. Leoric has to clean this up and has to hope his team can win a 4v5. That's literally all they can do now as they all move in. Good luck, BTG. They move forward. Varian onto Falstad as the target. The Junkrat grenade is good. Varian can't get on the point. The gust is too good. And that is game. Game number 2 goes over to TheOne.
And that one was definitely a lot.